Never landed here before.
Get ready, moving on.
Oh shit, it looks like there's something. But it's okay, we'll smack him.
Hostile spotted.
I ain't never worried. Damn, I've literally never seen this side of this map before. I've never even looked down here, to be honest. There's a lifeline in front of me. Oh, it's not a lifeline. Oh, she definitely got a weapon. Okay. Oh, I didn't know my team was not that far over.
Only two of us remain. The champion has fallen.
That was brutal.
Marking our surroundings.
I thought you guys were with me.
Enemy spotted.
Happened to us.
Contact.
Your time is not over yet.
Broke their shield line.
Rap. The thing your 50-year-old cousin still thinks he has a shot at. Rap has been around for decades. And it's gotten so mainstream, it's now even part of the Super Bowl halftime show. But now, there's a new style of rap that's blowing up. And it's gotten to the point where the mayor of New York is so concerned that he's trying to rein it in.
Mayor Eric Adams is trying to curb the violence associated with drill rap. Now, that's a branch of rap music that is about the violent side of the streets.
I had no idea what drill rapping was, but I called my son, and he sent me some videos, and it is alarming.
Drill rap came under renewed scrutiny after 18-year-old artist Jaquan McKinley's murder earlier this month.
Adams made national headlines late Friday when he called out social media companies for their responsibility in promoting violence in drill rap videos, and he vowed to put a plan in motion.
We pulled Trump off Twitter because of what he was spewing. Yet we are allowing music, displaying of guns, violence. We're allowing it to stay on these sites.
Okay. Hold on. It is not fair to compare President Trump to rappers. All right? Rappers are all about dissing their haters and banging porn stars and bragging about how rich they are even when they're secretly broke. Does that sound like Donald Trump to you? You show some respect. And yeah, once again, social media companies are in the crosshairs because, you know, these days they're getting pressure to take a lot down, right? COVID misinformation, election misinformation, hate speech, bullying. They can't keep up. I mean, soon the only thing that's going to be left on social media is just going to be cat photos and things your grandpa accidentally tweeted while trying to Google, where did Jeannie and I have our first date? But the real question is, what is drill rap? And why is it even scaring the mayor of New York? Well, let's find out in another installment of If You Don't Know, Now You Know. Rap music, AKA hippity hop. It's a music form that tackles every topic, you know? It talks about relationships, talks about money, social issues, life on the streets, balling. It can even talk about the relative moisture content of vaginas. But it can also celebrate gang violence. And that's what has some people worried about drill rap.
The hard-driving beats and dark, ominous sound of drill originated in Chicago. It was also heavily gang-affiliated. It got a new life in Brooklyn and was brought into the mainstream by the late Pop Smoke.
Drill music has been around for more than a decade, but local activists tell us what's different is that the music now has a darker tone, with drill rappers creating songs and viral dances that celebrate local murders.
Leaky got shot. What the hell? Fast face hot. Corbin got kidnapped, they found his bones, he was right. Corbin.
More than the music itself, NYPD says it's the taunting and dissing in the lyrics that are rapped and posted on social media that fuel the violence.
It's dissing people that passed. It's dissing people, family members. It's dissing people, homies. And when that happens, they homies, they family members, and they peoples is gonna retaliate. And it's just a never-ending cycle.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of the lyrics in drill rap aren't just about street life and violence in general. No, they're attacks on specific people in rival gangs, and especially taunting people who were already murdered. Which, if you ask me, is way over the line, people. Like, what are you trying to prove at that point? The person is dead. Why you gotta make songs dissing a dead person? It's not like God's up in heaven like,
we were gonna let you in, but little Trey bodied you so hard on that track, you gotta go to hell. No busters allowed through the pearly gates. Oh, they roasted you, kid.
And look, I'm not a rapper, you know, until my mixtape blows up. But if you ask me, a good diss track doesn't need to call for someone's murder. It doesn't need that. In fact, in my opinion, I think the best diss tracks don't even mention the names at all. Yeah? Look at Taylor Swift. All she said was that someone stole her scarf, and it ruined Jake Gyllenhaal's life. Yeah, that dude wishes he was just shot in the street. But drill rap is getting renewed scrutiny right now because 2 drill rappers were murdered in New York just this month. And as you can see, the backlash has been widespread, right? From Eric Adams, to the police, to local community leaders on the ground, even some of New York's biggest hip-hop DJs. People who love drill music, by the way, have said that they're gonna stop playing explicit diss tracks because they don't want to encourage any more violence. And look, you can totally understand where all of these people are coming from, right? They feel like the rap is making the street more dangerous. But don't forget, this is an argument that we've heard about rap music for decades.
Gangster rap has become incredibly popular and profitable by selling lyrics about black-on-black violence. Now that some of its stars stand accused of doing what they've been rapping about, life seems to be imitating art, so to speak. And the critics are coming out in force. Some radio stations have refused to play the most controversial rap records.
In the wake of the Rodney King verdict and the civil unrest in Los Angeles, some police officers across the country now say they're feeling threatened by the lyrics of a rap song.
Radio stations such as KACE in Los Angeles and WBLS in New York announced they would no longer play songs they considered negative.
You have the right of free speech in this country, but you don't have the right to yell fire in a crowded theater. They're yelling shoot in a community that is crowded with guns.
They don't seem to see any connection between the kind of music which they sell for profit and the kinds of problems we have in American society.
Rap opponents say they're fighting to save a generation. It won't be easy. Last night at the Billboard Music Awards in Hollywood, one of the most foul-mouthed rappers, Dr. Dre, was upheld as one of the best artists of the year.
Oh, that foul-mouthed Dr. Dre! What a disgrace! I, for one, will never buy mid-range headphones from that man. But yeah, back in the 90s, people were saying all the same things about rap music that they're saying now about drill rap music. And you find in another 30 years, they'll be saying the same thing about whatever rap is then. These crypto rappers are out of control. We don't feel safe in our own metaverse anymore. And look, please don't get me wrong, I am not saying the backlash against drill rap is exactly the same situation as the 90s. I'm not saying that. In fact, this week, Eric Adams actually sat down with a group of drill rappers to hear their side of the story, which is definitely not something that was happening a lot back then. You know, like Rudy Giuliani never sat down for a meeting with Tupac. And if he did, it was only because he was trying to find dirt on Hunter Biden. But still, the fact that we've been down this road before probably should be a reason to pause. Just pause before condemning an entire genre. Because a lot of the people that think drill rap is the cause of this violence don't realize that if you ask people in the drill rap community, they say, no, it's not the cause of the violence, it's actually the other way around.
How are we taking a genre of music and saying, this is the problem in the community? How the f that the problem? That's music. It's a problem that already existed before they had this genre of music. The music is the expression for trauma.
They're rapping about their reality, and they need to understand that if, for example, they were to ban drill music, is violence going to stop? It's not. So we're seeing it as they're using it as a scapegoat.
The community is like, it's like there's no hope, there's no opportunities. No, we just making music so we could get out of these places.
The lyrics are a manifestation of what is already happening, right? They are actually living their reality, right? So if their reality was different, then they would rap about different things.
Yeah, you see, from their perspective, people upset about violence in rap music are focusing on the symptom instead of the root cause. Because you want to ban drill rap, but you don't want to ban income inequality. You want to ban drill rap, but you don't want to ban mass incarceration. You want to ban drill rap, but you don't want to ban failing schools. You want to ban drill rap, but you don't want to ban the things that lead to drill rap. And look, this isn't even unique to this issue, right? Like, attacking the symptom instead of the cause is as American as arming teachers. But just cracking down on drill rappers won't stop anything. They'll just find another way to express themselves, right? You're gonna end up creating a generation of drill podcasters. When I'm putting my enemies to sleep, I always do it on a Casper mattress. The point is, drill rappers are like any other artist. Their art is going to be an expression of what's around them. If you want to stop the music, don't emulate the same mistakes America has been making for 30 years. Emulate policies from a country that isn't producing drill rap. Like, I'm not trying to start a beef, but there's a reason that the Scandinavian drill scene ain't shit. And yeah, I'm talking to you, Finland. What you gonna do? Give me free healthcare? Shit. And look, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's necessarily wrong to stop some of these songs from spreading on radio or on social media. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that can't be the only solution. And who knows? Maybe if you actually fix the issues in these communities, then maybe, just maybe, the rap music that comes out of them could sound a whole lot different.
You already know what it is. It's your boy DJ Systemic Change. My neighborhood good, the road smooth, the system working exactly how it's supposed to. I got no beef, nothing to complain about. Let's go. Started my job so I got a suit. Close to the crib so I shook commute. Good funded, no potholes on the roof. After school program to mental youth. Schools of abundance is open. Learning the science and math, my kid been learning piano and flute. My neighborhood good, ain't no need to uproot. None of these boys wanna shoot at me. Too many job opportunities. Dropping the cash on the home. Got pre-approved for a loan. Best education in every year. 4-year degree, not a dime a day. Don't have to worry about felonies. I'm at home buying NFTs. The neighborhood sunny and everything's good when the police be seeing me. They be pulling me over and they be coming up and they gapping me. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I really have no complaints. It's a wonderful neighborhood. I got a great home. I got a guy you could call. We could, get you a good realtor.
So live from an undisclosed location with the sultry filter on. Very sultry filter on. Yeah. Having a great hair day.
Yeah, that is a good hair day for you.
Great hair day. My pal and your favorite CEO and Twitterer, Mr. Elon Musk. How you doing, pal?
Hey.
We open source it to the fans, and they've just gone crazy with it. Love you guys.
Queen of Appreciate you coming to the event and zooming in.
Yeah.
What's new in your world?
Well, let's see. I guess right now I'm sort of debating the number of bots on Twitter. With Para on Twitter, currently, what I'm being told is that there's just no way to know the number of bots. It's like as unknowable as the human soul, basically.
So
you have no idea what level of witchcraft and alchemy is needed to determine this bot percentage.
Have you determined?
I said, like, why not try calling people? But I haven't got a response. Like, if you try calling people or something, like maybe try
The
that.
answer? It's not a bot?
No, I don't know. But I think like that would be one of the things to do. To say like, have you tried calling them? As opposed to like trying to read the tea leaves here, that's like impossible, you know. Obviously, you can have an account that looks exactly like a human account, or is being operated where one person is operating 1,000 accounts or something. But that person can only buy one toaster. They're not going to buy 1,000 toasters. So if you care about like number of unique, real people that are on the system, it's extremely fundamental. And anyone who uses Twitter is well aware that the comment threads are full of spam, scam, and just a lot of fake accounts. So. It seems beyond reasonable for Twitter to claim that the number of essentially the number of said another way, the number of real unique humans that you see making comments on a daily basis on Twitter is above 95%. That is what they're claiming. Does anyone have that experience? Exactly.
I mean,
really? Listen, like, there's a bridge I'd like to sell you, you know. And also, you can buy the Brooklyn Bridge.
what do you think it is? What's the I mean, if it's not 5%, what is it?
I think it's some number that is probably at least 4 or 5 times that number. I'd say if you did sort of the lowest estimate would be probably 20%. And this is a bunch of quite smart outside firms have done analysis of Twitter and looked at the sort of daily users, and their conclusion is also about 20%, but that's a lower bound. It's not an upper bound. If you look at, say, the most liked tweets on Twitter, so I have the honor of having the most liked tweet of any living human. This is. Thank you, everyone, for liking my tweet, including you, some of the bots out there. But that tweet is less than 5 million likes. It's like 4.7 or something like that. And that was where I tweeted about that next time buying Coca-Cola to put the cocaine back in. It's clearly something that the public really wants, and Coca-Cola Corporation should really think about going back to their roots. Coca-Cola. I mean, this I guess is the reason why our grandparents could sort of walk 40 miles in the snow, because they had Coca-Cola with cocaine. That's the real reason. So. Anyway, that is literally the most popular tweet of any living human. But Twitter says that the sort of monetizable daily active users is 217 million. So why would it be that the most popular tweet ever basically is only 2.5% of the entire user base? This seems a very, very low number. And the most popular tweets generally are clustered around that sort of 4 million like level. So it's sort of like basically 2% or less than 2% of the daily active users. And technically monetizable daily active users is how Twitter refers to it. So it just seems, how is this possible? Surely there's something that maybe 10% of people, not nearly 2%.
If you think about it, Elon, there's a corollary on YouTube. What's the total user base of YouTube, and what have the most popular videos gotten there?
Yes.
And I think there's a billion or two, maybe a billion people using YouTube, and the most popular videos have tens of billions of views.
Yes.
That might be instructive.
Exactly. That ratio makes a lot more sense. So something doesn't add up here. And my concern is not that, is it 5 or 7 or 8%, but is it potentially 80% or 90% bots?
Yeah.
Is it I mean, I certainly know there's some real people on Twitter, but is it an order of magnitude? Is it 50% instead of 5%? And that's obviously an incredibly material number, especially since Twitter relies primarily on brand advertising as opposed to specific click-through advertising where you make a purchase. If you make a purchase, it doesn't really matter that much. But for brand advertising, which is really just awareness advertising, it matters if real humans are seeing that or not.
Yeah, and so I guess stepping back for a second, people are curious why you want to buy Twitter. Why is this so important to you? And then I guess, what are the chances you think the deal gets done at this point? So a two-parter. Why is it so important to you?
I mean, some of this I've articulated before, but I think there's a need for a public town square, digital town square that where people can debate issues of all kinds, including the most substantive issues. And in order for that to be the case, you have to have something that is as broadly inclusive as possible, that has as much of the people on the platform as possible, where it feels balanced from a political standpoint, it's not biased one way or the other, and where the system is transparent. This is why I think it's important to put the algorithm on GitHub and actually allow the public to see it and critique it and improve it. And if there are any manual changes, sort of shadow banning as it's called, or increasing or decreasing the prominence of a tweet that's done manually, that should be noted so you know what has happened. And it's not just, you're just where it is right now. We don't know what the heck is going on. Why is one tweet doing well? Why is another tweet not? Is it the algorithm? Did someone manually intervene? Why are some accounts banned with no recourse apparently? The reality is that Twitter at this point, has a very far left bias. And I would classify myself as a moderate, and neither Republican nor Democrat. And in fact, I have voted overwhelmingly for Democrats historically, overwhelmingly. Like I'm not sure. I might never have voted for a Republican, just to be clear.
Right.
Now this election, I will.
Wow. David, you okay?
Keep going. He's fine. We're going to resuscitate him.
We're going to resuscitate David Sachs. I mean, let me ask you a personal
question. The point I'm trying to make is that this is not some sort of attempt to, it's not some right-wing takeover, as say people on the left may fear, but rather a moderate-wing takeover, and an attempt to ensure that people of all political beliefs feel welcome on a digital town square, and they can express their beliefs without fear of being banned or shadow banned, and that we obviously need to get rid of the bots and scams and trolls and people that are operating huge bot armies in an attempt to unduly influence the public opinion. So this is what I think it's very important that we have that. Like some of the smartest people in history have thought about it and said, like, free speech is important for a healthy democracy. It is important, and free speech only matters. Like say, when does free speech matter most? It's when it's someone you don't like saying something you don't like. That's when it actually matters. Obviously, and it's pretty annoying when someone you don't like says something you don't like. That's bad, but it's actually a good sign of that you have free speech. I mean, I get trashed by the media all the time. It's fine. I don't care. Do it twice as much. I couldn't care less. But it's indicative of the fact that even though I have like a lot of resources, I do not actually have the ability to stop the media from trashing me, and that's actually a good thing.
45 seconds.
Yeah. I have to ask, with regard to this current administration, I know how hard you work on the car company, and then Biden, you've been a lifelong Democrat, you've donated to Obama and to everybody, probably never voted Republican, and yet, and the same is true for Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is, a Bernie Sanders supporter. And that the Democratic Party has been openly hostile to Joe Rogan, and Biden can't even say the word Tesla or invite you to the White House when they do an EV summit. I'm curious, just on a very personal basis, what does it feel like to have that experience where the party you supported won't even say the name of your company or invite you there? They should be celebrating the work you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely feels like this is not right. Like this is the issue here is that there's just the Democratic Party is overly controlled by the unions and by the trial lawyers, particularly the class action lawyers. And generally, if you'll see something that is not in the interest of the people, on the Democrat side, it's going to come because of the unions, which is just another form of monopoly, and the trial lawyers. That's where actions will be happening from the Democrat side. They're not in the interest of the people. And then, to be fair, on the Republican side, there's if you say like where there's something like not ideal happening, it's because of corporate evil and religious zealotry. That's generally where the bad things will be coming from on the Republican side, that are not representative of the people. So. In the case of Biden, he is simply too much captured by the unions, which was not the case with Obama. So in the case of Obama, you could have, he was sort of quite reasonable, and I think he took more of a view that, obviously you take the concerns of the unions into account, but there are bigger issues at stake, and unfortunately Biden does not do that.
Elon, I have a Tesla question. I read today, it's incredible, there was a Bloomberg article that said the following. So the setup is this. It said, since you went public, Tesla's up 22,000%, 11 quarters of sequential profitability, so hitting on all cylinders. But the public analyst...
We had cylinders.
That's a car joke. That's a combustion.
Firing, we're stepping on the gas pedal, firing on all cylinders. Turbocharged.
But analysts, when they put out their projections, okay, it's one of the most enormous bans for any company in America. The price targets for Tesla, despite all of this success, some have it at 200, some have it at 1,600. It's all over the place. You tweeted a couple months ago, Tesla's not a company, it's like 6 companies inside of a company. Like you've had to build this. Yeah, maybe more. Can you just explain to people all these companies inside this super company, just so folks have a sense of what had to be done to get here?
Okay, I mean, this question requires thought, and I'll probably be leaving out quite a few things. But if you look at, say, what does a typical car company do? What they do is they assemble vehicles and they send them to dealers, and they manage the supply chain. They might make the engine, or typically will make the engine, but most of the parts are made by suppliers. And a lot of the actual technology development is done by suppliers, and most of the vehicle software is done by suppliers. So the actual amount of real work done by car companies, what you think of sort of like a GM or Ford, is not actually that much. So they don't do sales, they don't do service. So in the case of Tesla, for example, we do our own sales and service. We don't have dealerships. Then Tesla also has by far the biggest network of superchargers, sort of the electric equivalent of gas stations. So we built an entire global supercharger network, which is still the most advanced and by far the best way to charge your car when traveling long distance, or if you live in a city and don't have the ability to charge your car because of street parking or an apartment. So the whole supercharger network, we developed a supercharger network, we deployed it. I think we have, 15,000 superchargers globally. You can travel anywhere in America right now with the Tesla supercharger network. Then, in terms of vertical integration, we make the battery pack, the power electronics, the drive unit. We actually make, we're more integrated in the parts. We actually make so much of the car internally. We're vertically integrated, not necessarily because we think that there's some religious reason to be vertically integrated, but because the pace at which we needed to move was just much faster than the supply chain could move. And to the degree that you inherit the legacy supply chain, you inherit the legacy constraints, including their speed, cost, and technology. And then Tesla is as much a software company as it is a hardware company. So the software that runs in Tesla operates the car, operates the screen, does the charging, all of that stuff is developed by Tesla. And so we have sort of a Tesla OS in the car. I could go on for a long time. And then very importantly, Tesla has built an autopilot AI team from scratch. That is the best real-world AI team on Earth. And if anyone else has got a better one, I'd like to see it demonstrated in the car. The full self-driving beta at this point can very often take you with zero interventions across the Bay Area from San Jose to Marin. So through complex traffic, it's really quite sophisticated. And I invite anyone to join the beta or look at the videos of those who are in the beta. We've got like 100,000 people in the beta, so it's not tiny. And we'll be expanding that to probably 1 million people, or 1 million, I don't know, on that order by the end of the year. So it's
you had this slide.
We also built a chip team because there wasn't hardware that we could run the friggin' AI on. We couldn't fill the trunk with a whole bunch of GPUs. They would have taken a trunk full of GPUs that would have been very expensive and take massive amount of power and cooling just to be able to do what the Tesla designed full self-driving computer can do. So, and we started a chip team from scratch, designed it, it was the best in the world, and still is the best in the world several years later. And we're also then designing a Dojo supercomputer to be able to process all the video that's coming in from billions of miles of data, because just sort of like the way that it's very difficult to compete with Google because they have so much data and they have all this people doing.
We're in this together. Remember that.
Together, we will slaughter our enemies. Winning in stem and ready to win.
Introducing your champion. I don't fear anything. Can you say the same?
Let's land here. This might be a good place to land. I love this part! Ha ha! Stay alert. Must go faster!
Getting some damage over here. Enemy shields. Enemy down.
I'm down. Moving here.
got a squad mate spanner. Recharging my shields.
Recharging my shields. Taking a moment to recharge my shields.
Let's go this way. Come on, say hello.
Attention. There is a new kill leader.
Be aware of the new kill leader. I need light ammo.
Hostile over there. Got a closed door. Light ammo here.
Let's go this way.
That.
New kill leader.
Careful, new kill leader.
We got some extra supplies.
I need light ammo.
Contact with I-Star.
Let's explore this way.
Let's explore this way. Evo shield here. Level 2. Light ammo here.
I could use that. Get shot at. Faster, faster, faster.
Might be something good this way.
I'm down. No bueno. Broken enemy shield.
Throwing thermite grenades.
No, I will assist you.
What would you do without me?
All Father, give me sight.
Need loot. This way. Let's go.
Attention. Delivering care
Let's explore this way.
All Father, give me sight. Might be something good this way.
Health drone if you need it.
I need heavy ammo.
Might be something. Health over here.
Getting health back. Scanning
Copy
the
that.
area. Knockdown shield here. Level 2. They're shooting at me? Let's explore this way.
Target over there.
Reloading. Done. I am taking fire.
Contact with hostile.
Searches all the time, and humanity is training it. But the same is true of Tesla. You really need billions of miles, ultimately tens of billions of miles of training data, combined with a sort of a vast training computer, and then optimize inference hardware in the car, and state-of-the-art AI and training and specialized software across the board to be able to achieve a full self-driving solution. Here you go.
I just want, when he opened Tesla Gigafactory, remember this 7 years ago? I'll just tell the audience a story quickly, Elon. He puts a slide up there and he says, guys, we're not actually building a factory, we're building a machine that makes machines. And he puts the layout of the factory and it looks like a chip. And it was basically like how you would actually lay out a microchip if you were, or you were like a layout. It was the craziest thing I'd ever seen. I was like, that was when I first got it. And then you walk on 10 and you see what's happening.
And you have an insurance company. Now you're doing insurance for Tesla owners.
And an Uber competitor.
Right. And eventually a robo-taxi Uber competitor, RIP.
Yeah. I mean, insurance is like quite significant.
Now, are you okay?
I'm okay.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
The car insurance thing is a bigger deal than it may seem. A lot of people are paying, 30-40% as much as their lease payment for the car in car insurance. So the car insurance industry is incredibly inefficient because they're just first of all, you got like so many sort of middle entities. You've got from the insurance agent all the way to the final sort of reinsurer. There's like a half dozen companies each taking a cut, and then it's all very statistical. So that there's even if you're a very good driver, you could be like 20 years old and a great driver, but it's all statistical, so you either can't get insurance or it's extremely expensive. But Tesla allows for real-time insurance based on how you actually drive the car. You can actually, if you drive the car in a safer way, you actually have lower insurance. So ours is insurance is based on how you actually drive, not how historically people that fit your whatever demographic have drive. And then you can close the loop around your insurance rate by simply driving better and looking at your score and lowering your insurance in real time. And people do it. Actually promotes safer driving.
I actually have had this experience because in my household, 2 people drive my car, and one of them has a 93 score and the other one does not. They have like a 60 score. And you may have met this other person, but I've been trying to work with her on the aggressive turns and stops in advance of our insurance bill, which we're hoping will go down at some point. You didn't, the one question, is this Twitter deal going to get closed, do you think? What are the chances here?
Well, I mean, it really depends on a lot of factors here. I'm still waiting for some sort of logical explanation for the number of sort of fake or spam accounts on Twitter, and Twitter is refusing to tell us. So, this just seems like a strange thing.
Wait, sorry, are they refusing to tell you, or you don't think they really know? I mean, there's a good chance they may just have no idea.
They claim that they do know.
Yeah.
And they claim that they've got this complex methodology that only they can understand.
But the guy who landed 2 rockets simultaneously
when you do the witch's brew, you stir this cauldron, and then you throw the knuckle bone, and
double,
Cogsworth,
toil and trouble.
Spell, and then suddenly it comes to you in a dream. I don't know. But there should be some, objective way to assert the thing, because this is a material public statement.
Threshold issue. Yeah.
It's a material adverse misstatement. If they in fact have been vociferously claiming less than 5% of fake or spam accounts, but in fact it is 4 or 5 times that number, or perhaps 10 times that number, this is a big deal. It's not this. It's sort of like if you said, okay, I agree to buy your house. You say the house has less than 5% termites. That's an acceptable number. But if it turns out it is 90% termites, that's not okay. It's not the same house. This house is made mostly of termites. Termites leave. Literally, your house will disappear because it's mostly made of termites. So that would obviously just not be appropriate. So in making the Twitter offer, I was obviously reliant upon the truth and accuracy of their public filings. And if those filings are not accurate, it's simply not. It's not. You can't pay the same price for something that is much worse than they claimed.
And, they say, Elon, life's a negotiation. So at a different price, it might be a totally viable deal, correct?
I mean, I mean, it's not out of the question. But I really would, you know, this is, you know, the more questions I ask, the more my concerns grow. So.
Got a good feeling about this area.
You know, at the end of the day, acquiring it has to be fixable, and fixable, you know, with reasonable time frame and without revenues collapsing along the way and all that sort of stuff. And so, you know, I really need to see how these things are being calculated, and it can't be some deep mystery that is like more complex than the human soul or something like that. It's got to be, you know, I think we can apply the scientific method to this and try to figure out what's really going on. And you know, Twitter's revenue is primarily dependent, I think 70% or some of that order, on brand advertising as opposed to specific purchase advertising. This is a big deal because brand advertising is not, there's not a purchase that results from that. So it's basically, you know, how much mind share, or like basically if you're a big company, how often do they hear your name? It's as opposed to something that where you can directly measure the outcome. So that means that they're somewhat going on faith. And if that faith is undermined or reduced because of the reality of the situation coming to the fore, then Tesla's revenue, or Twitter's, start with a T, Twitter's revenue will be significantly impaired, and that's a major problem.
Elon, did you have a chance to ask these questions during your negotiation?
Like I said, I was reliant upon their public filings. So to the degree that they're public, and this is normal for a public company. If you know, if you make a formal filing, that is what investors are relying on, whether they are making an acquisition offer or simply buying some shares. So the accuracy of these filings is important, whether you're buying one share or the whole company. And so if these filings are inaccurate, or if they're sort of potentially blatant, it's a big deal.
Elon, do you have a sense of why this has been such a persistent problem for Twitter? Do they not have the technical capabilities to solve the bot problem? Or is it more of like just they've under-prioritized the issue or been unwilling to because potentially there are implications for ad revenue?
I don't know. It's sort of speculative at this point. So the worst interpretation would be that they don't want to look too closely at the thing because they might not like the answer. That would be the worst interpretation. I'm not sure what the best interpretation is, but the least bad interpretation would be maybe they thought it was this way, but the way they were doing it was wrong, and they didn't realize they were mistaken and simply weren't paying enough attention. It does seem as though it should be a lot easier to get rid of the bots and spam and trolls than, like this is not we're not trying to split the atom here, you know. We're not trying to get to the moon, okay? We're just trying to limit the amount of obviously scammy accounts. If it's like Bitcoin giveaway, you know, probably it's a spammer, you know, like maybe, you know.
Wait, you're not giving away 100 Bitcoins? I just sent you 10 ETH.
If you send me 2 Bitcoin, I'll send you 1 back, right? That's my...
What if I send you 20? Actually, I thought one of the interesting things that came up in your product roadmap, or I guess this was released and people covered it, was the possibility of Twitter becoming kind of a super app with payments included, maybe perhaps even Doge or something. This seems to me, based on your work with David at PayPal, it's a pretty brilliant idea. What's the vision there in terms of if you were able to buy it, you know, perhaps at the right price? What would it look like if, you know, I could at Jason to at Elon Musk, you know, $10 or something if, you know, we were splitting a check or something?
Sure. Well, for those that have used WeChat, I think WeChat's actually a good model. If you're in China, it's basically, you kind of live on WeChat. It does everything. It's sort of like Twitter plus PayPal plus a whole bunch of other things and all roll into one with actually a great interface. And it's really an excellent app. And we don't have anything like that outside of China.